Hey, I'm Steve. Welcome to the Entering into Space Astronomy channel and Astrophotography. Before it gets too much darker, I wanted to take a little time to let you know what we're going to be doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a little workflow for polar alignment, setting up the mount, star alignment, and focusing with the button-off mask. It's a brilliant piece of equipment. Definitely gotta have it. So my mount is now connected to my computer, and I want to check that my guide scope is basically as in line with the main imaging scope as it could possibly be. So we are going to focus on something that's relatively bright. Check that out. And that would be the moon. So a couple things I want to go over before we get started into polar alignment through SharpCap and star alignment through the SynScan Wi-Fi app and focusing in APT is how we're actually controlling the mount. And what I did is, this is the Orion Atlas EQG. It's got a 40-pound capacity. And it comes standard with the Orion SynScan hand controller. It's a single line controller, and it forces you to have to, every time you set it up, like me, if you're dragging it in and out of the house, you have to put in the date and the time and your elevation, and then it limits you on the amount of stars that you can choose from. It's very slow. So what I did is I took this off cable and installed the SynScan Wi-Fi adapter made by Skywatcher. This allows my PC to make a Wi-Fi connection. It broadcasts a Wi-Fi signal to my PC, so it allows it to make a connection so that I can run PhD2 guide through it. I can use Astrophotography Tool for my imaging sequence, and also the SynScan Skywatcher app connects to it. So everything that I need to do to the mount is all through this device here. Plugs right into the cable that goes into the side of the main part of the mount here. So also, before we get into it, I'm going to go over a couple of apps, actually 3 apps that I use to help me get set up every night and to help my workflow. We're going to check the Clear Sky app here. Clear sky outside. Let's see what this thing is saying. So today, Friday the 6th. There it is. Look at that. All zeros. So zeros are good numbers. Those are total clouds, low, medium, and high clouds. Anything in the 80s and hundreds is bad. 100 I think is the max it goes to, I guess. But right now, starting at roughly 9 o'clock, it is looking good. About 11 or 10 o'clock, a few clouds moving through, but then after that, look at that. Zeros. Another app I like to use is the AccuWeather. Click on it. It's going to get me a relative location. Click on this little page icon here and go to satellite and hit play and zoom out, and it's going to show me what clouds are moving in. So it looks like we're going to have a fairly clear night. Hey, look at that. Hey, screw you, Dorian. Should have named you Borean. Ugh. So to check our polar alignment, we're going to come over here to the Polar Finder app. And what this is going to show us up at the top there is going to show us the position of Polaris at this time of day at 5:12. And so when we set up, Polaris right now is at 12 o'clock. But when we go to set up, it's probably going to be more like at 11 o'clock. So you're going to rotate your mount on the right ascension axis until Polaris or the Big Dipper or Cassiopeia lines up with the approximate position of where it is on this app. Okay, so this is actually the best I could do to get a live look through the polar scope that's in the right ascension axis of my mount. And you can see Polaris just off, and I can get that to lock. So it's focusing, but anyway, you can see it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my, first my alt bolt, which moves the mount up and down. You can see it going down. And I'm going to adjust it up. There. I'm going to move my azimuth bolts, which are there side to side, that move your mount base left to right until we get Polaris in the center of that circle. And remember, don't forget, earlier I showed you the Polar Finder Pro app, which showed the relationship that you have to move your mount's axis so that Polaris is at the correct time and position, which is right now, if straight up in this video is 12 o'clock, it's going to be at about 10 o'clock, 10:30-ish, somewhere there. So we're close. Looks like we need to come down just a little bit. Been doing it. I've never done this on the phone before, so it's actually working out pretty good. Move our bolt back the other way, and should have it pretty well centered up. A little bit more. So that used to be the sum total of my polar alignment, but now what we're going to do, we're going to let it get a little bit darker, and we're going to move over to Sharp Cap, and we're going to fine tune this polar alignment. Okay, so I believe it's dark enough now that Sharp Cap, looking through the guide scope, my 80mm guide scope with a 240mm focal length, using the ASI 120 MC, we'll be able to plate solve and know the positions of the stars around the North Celestial Pole. So the settings that I have currently are a gain, if you can see my little mouse here, gain of 93 and exposure length of about 2.5 seconds. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click Tools, Polar Line, and it's basically saying that Sharp Cap needs to recognize, I'm sure you can see some of these stars, 10 to 15 stars in the field of view. And to start that process, we're going to click the Next button. And it is solved. It says press the Next button before rotating the RA axis. So we're going to press the Next button, and then we're going to get up, come over to our mount, and rotate it 90 degrees. I usually go to the right and just eyeball 90 degrees, lock it back down. And with that done, we want to click the Next button again. And so you see this little square has got to go into that circle. So to help, because we're going to be at our scope doing this, we're going to magnify this. Let's go up to 100% and try to center that up. There you go. Sounds easy to see. So we'll come back over to our scope, and I've learned that the longitude bolt, which is the bolt that raises the scope up and down, is going to go right to left, and your azimuth bolts are going to move it up and down. So we need to go to the right, which means we probably need to rotate this bolt counterclockwise, or actually clockwise. And where it says fair down there, we want it to say excellent. So we're moving on top of it now. Now we need to adjust our Alt-Az bolts. We're going to adjust our west bolt in to go down. And we'll need to adjust the Alt bolt. Yeah, we're getting close. Woo! Real close. Up just a fuzz. I think we need to adjust our east bolt in just a little bit. Oh man. So what I like to do is I like to let it go through a couple cycles. See, we're pretty good. We're still popping excellent before we call it done. And it looks like we're pretty good. I'm gonna call that good. So we're gonna close it off, but we're gonna keep Sharp Cap open. Minimize that back down because we're gonna have this help us find our guide star. So before we do that, we've got to manually rotate our scope back up to the home position. Down. And so that done, we can minimize Sharp Cap. We're going to go to our SynScan Wi-Fi app, and just to show you guys, we open up our connections. There it is, our SynScan Wi-Fi. We are connected to it, so our mount's connected to it. We're gonna go back over here. We're gonna go to alignment. And because I'm plate solving through Astrophotography Tool, I'm only gonna do a 1-star alignment just to kind of get it get the mount knowing where it's at in the night sky. So we're gonna click a 1-star alignment. Let's choose Arcturus. It's a pretty bright star. It's a good star to focus on because it's so bright. And we're gonna click begin alignment. I'm sure you can hear the scope slewing. Arcturus is just above my house right now, setting in the west. So we're rotating around it right now. So we can bring up our Sharp Cap screen. We're looking through our guide scope. Let's see how close it gets. Hopefully it'll get pretty close. If not, I'll have to pause the video and we'll look behind the tail rad. Okay, so after getting behind and looking at the tail rad, I've got it close. So we're going to use our Let's turn our speed down a little bit. So all we're doing now is just getting this centered in the field of view as we can. Okay, so now that we have that centered, we're going to minimize Sharp Cap and open up Astrophotography Tool. And we're going to go in here to live view. So you see right there is Arcturus. Bring up our controller app, and we're going to use the arrow keys here to center it up, which is pretty good right there. Let's move that over here, and we're going to zoom in on it. Let's bring our app back into play. Turn our speed down, because we're making micro adjustments here. A little bit more. Okay. So we're settled in. Good. All right, let's take our batting off mask, put it over the scope. And look pretty good. Let's zoom in one more time. As you can see, if I unlock the focus lock, and turn the focus, see the spikes going back and forth. So once we think we like it, what we can do is come over here to our camera tab and turn our exposure down to like a 4-second exposure. Take a picture just to get a good visualization of it. I haven't been drinking. It's pretty good. One way we can look at that a little better is to go over here to image, last taken, and left click on it. See, I've done it before. And we turn the camera in here. Get off my ankle, mosquito. That's pretty good. I mean, for just a single speed focuser, that's pretty good. If we can zoom in on a little bit more. I mean, pretty happy with that. So go back over here to live view. Zoom in. So with that done, we're gonna lock our focus lock down. And wait for it to settle down. Probably take one more picture. We don't even have to do a 4-second, we could do a 3-second. Pretty good. I'm pretty happy. Alright, so let's minimize that. And now that we have focused and we're centered Arcturus, we can click sync. And so what I'm going to do for the rest of the night, which I won't show you in this video, is I'm going to control my mount through the gear tab over here using point craft to plate solve, and these buttons here to control the mount, and the go-to over here. But in order to do that, I have to, with this Wi-Fi app, I've got to go back in here and I've got to go to the utilities tab, and I've actually got to park the scope in the home position. And then that basically hands off control to APT or Astrophotography Tool. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you learned something. Hope that this helped the way I do it, the way I get set up. And all I can say from now on is clear skies. It needs to be, listen, it needs to be right here in the middle of my chest. That's where it needs to be. Between my nipples. Oh yeah. According to YouTube, that's where it needs to be. Yeah. So. Stop it. I'm gonna start over. Yeah, the brain part.